All right, hello and welcome to the Ask Me Anything for the Linchpin private Facebook group. It is October 8th, 2020. A glorious rest day, especially after a cheat night last night in the Sherwood household. Maybe we'll get to that later on, what I consumed and how I feel at the moment, how my belly feels at the moment. All right, let's see. The top question was from Mark Williams. Here we go. Mark Williams, long-time AMA listener, first-time caller. Simple question and not sure if it's been asked. I'm just curious how many members we have in the Linchpin world. I can see how many are in the Facebook group, but wondering how many total, including those not in the Facebook group. As always, keep up the excellent programming. So right now, I think we're approaching 1,700 in the Facebook group, which we could talk about that for a while. The fact that we've got 1,700 people there, and it's just a wonderful paradise of sanity and positive energy. When I have to get to the Linchpin private Facebook group, I have to sometimes go through my regular Facebook feed on the way to clicking on the buttons, and it's like navigating a dumpster fire of politics and negativity and mudslinging, and then you finally get to our group and you're like, well, this is a nice change. So we've got about, I think, approaching 1,700 in the private Facebook group, but worldwide on the private track, we're over 3,000 now. So it's growing incredibly. It's almost like it works. Who would have guessed? It's almost like it works, and it's almost like good people want to be around good people. So, we'll continue to put out the good word. We'll continue to do what is effective, not popular, and the numbers will shake out. However, the numbers shake out. That the wonderful thing is that from day one, we haven't really changed what we've done, and I didn't know. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but I didn't know how Linchpin was going to be received when I had it in my head as to what I wanted to do and what I wanted to present to the world, which was just the unabashed truth that I had learned through all my experience of CrossFit and the military and all those worlds smashed together. I didn't want to put out any fluff. I didn't want to put out... It can be really easy to do things or to avoid things because it might upset your members. And if it upsets your members, and a lot of people don't show up for the 5 p.m. class, well, that's not good. And I get that. That's a really tough position to be in as a gym owner. It's really tough to program a 5K because that class is going to be vacant, or 10 by 100 meter sprints, or something like that. You program a 7 by 1 deadlift day, you're going to have to, expand your gym. People enjoy it so much. So there can be this easy trap to fall into, to gain popularity or followers or whatever you want to say, by programming what's popular and not necessarily what's effective. And I didn't have any interest in that in any way, shape, or form. I wanted to program what was effective, not what was popular, and just see how it shook out. So it's all good, and I'm very happy that there appears to be a decent amount of people in the world who want to do what is effective. And I didn't know if that was going to be a good call or not, right? Because at Linchpin, we tell people, we're going to tell you to work on your L-sit. I mean, there's another very unpopular thing to do. Nobody wants to work on their L-sit, but we're going to keep programming it because that's what works. People don't generally enjoy dumbbell thrusters, but man, they're really effective, so we're going to keep programming dumbbell thrusters. And the people that hang around, good things are going to happen. So, it's been a heck of a ride. So we're just over 3,000 at the moment, and we'll see where it goes. So, okay, that was number 1 from Mark. Number 2, Tim. Let's see, Tim, what do you have? All right, last week Mainsight programmed a half marathon row. What is your thought as to the benefit to GPP of such a long single modality workout? I know that isn't a typical CrossFit style workout, but just curious of your thought on it. So, it's a great question. So the half marathon row made its appearance at the games in either 2013 or 14. I can't remember which one. But when I saw this question last night as one of the Ask Me Anything questions, I asked my wife, because she competed those 2 years, I said, "Did you do the half marathon row at the games?" And she was like, "Oh, yes, and I'll never do it again." That was the first phrase out of her mouth. And I said, "Well, how long did it take?" And she believed that it took somewhere in the area of 90 minutes. She couldn't be certain, but somewhere around there. I said, "Okay." I said, "What else sticks out in your head?" And she said, blisters all over people's hands getting torn up and being useless for future events, your back and legs just being torched, and it also being just as much, if not more, of a mental grind than a physical grind. And that some people on the rower, you could almost start to see them go crazy because they were on the row for so long and it was such a repetitive, boring grind. However, to get back to Tim's question, let's see, thoughts to the benefit of something like that? There is certainly benefit to it. Now, in our classic, CrossFit methodology, two kind of opposite ends of the teeter-totter, you have intensity on one side and time domain on the other. Just by its very nature, as time domain extends and gets longer, intensity by necessity has to go down. So a half marathon row, compared to a lot of things that we do, isn't going to fall into a high intensity sort of realm. And if we think back to, again, an oversimplification, but that intensity being the independent variable most commonly associated with maximizing the rate of return of favorable adaptation, meaning embracing intensity 9 times out of 10 helps you get what you want out of a physical fitness program. That intensity is your friend, of course, relative to the individual. We want to spend as much time as we can with intense workouts. We have to obviously rest so that we don't burn out, so we have to modulate these things. But spending a tremendous amount of time in something out there like a half marathon row is going to be the opposite of intensity in the end. It's not going to drive you in general closer and closer to work capacity across broad time modal domains, that great GPP that we're chasing in CrossFit. With that being said, variance is also a wonderful thing, and there is certainly a time and a place every now and then to go long. Now that's very long. We understand that. Right? That simple programming phase of live your life in couplets and triplets, go heavy at least once a week, every now and then go long. And that's go very long. So you wouldn't see something like I guess the greatest metric to use would be to look back on the Mainsight or something like that and see how frequently was the last 90-minute to 2-hour effort programmed. Probably not very frequently. It's probably been quite some time, because even you wouldn't want to regularly expose yourself to that unless you were taking more of a specialist approach compared to a generalist approach. Then you would have to start, if that was going to be your world, then you would have to expose yourself to longer time domains more regularly, and in that know that you are willingly and knowingly sacrificing some capacity in some other areas, but that would be a conscious choice. So yes, there is certainly benefit to exposing yourself to that, but probably not as frequently as we would do a whole heck of a lot of other things, and again related to the intensity piece. And I could also say, you could go your whole life, be wonderfully fit, and never do a half marathon row. On the other hand, there is some benefit every now and then to doing things that maybe, like my wife said, your glutes and hamstrings and low back were just not happy with you for the next week. So that's going to probably negatively impact your training, give you a lower intensity week, etc., etc. But there is benefit to exposing yourself to some things that while they do those things I just said to your body, your hands, and etc., there's a lot of benefit between the ears to learning to endure, to learning to shut your brain off and just stay in the suck, stay in the grind, and don't leave until the job is done. Don't leave until the work is done. And some things like a half marathon row may fit really nicely into something like that. And there is immediate application for activities such as that when I think about my previous occupation in the military, or anybody who's a first responder or currently in the military. I mean, there's just things that you're going to have to do that are going to go on for a long period of time, are highly repetitive, and you just have kind of a constant dull ache in your body because all you want to do is stop, but stopping is not an option. You just got to keep going. And there's benefit to dipping your toe in that water every now and then. So that would kind of be my synopsis on that one. Okay. I don't know, Tim, if you plan on going out and doing the half marathon row. If you do, please post in the group how it went, your thoughts and experiences during it. Make sure you have a good playlist or a TV on or something like that. And yeah, and don't forget, and then a year or two later, they did the full marathon row at the games. And you saw people, I think, actually start to go crazy. Just get off the rower and walk around, wringing their head with their hands and whatnot. It was, again, it's a physical and mental, just delightful experience. Okay, David Bryce Nicholson. What do we have here? Okay, here we go. From David. If our more likely time, and that, for anyone listening, is, we give goal times each day for workouts, and the more likely time is just that. It's the more likely time that most people will be shooting for, going for. Even experienced athletes, I don't care if you've been doing CrossFit 5 or 10 years, you're probably going to be going after the more likely time. So from novice to even experienced. Then we give a super fitness robot time for just those psychotic animals of fitness. And the super fitness robot time is humanly obtainable. It's possible, but it is a heck of a stretch. And we dangle that carrot out there, and some people get it every now and then, and it should be celebrated because it is, you hit a home run. But yes, most of us are going for the more likely time. So, if our more likely time in a workout is, say, 9 minutes, but we need to scale, do we scale so that we can get close to that time? And does that time also apply to the limited equipment option, which is our dumbbells, and the no equipment option? So, okay, let's answer it one at a time. When you scale, should you scale to try to get close to that more likely time? In general, yes. That would be a very good metric to go by. Another good metric is in the daily videos that I provide, I try, when it makes sense, to give some other standards that will help you kind of make a decision. Like, I don't know, if there's a barbell in the workout and there's multiple movements, I might want to say, hey, this is a 3 or 4 round workout at the prescribed loading. If you can't do X number of repetitions at this loading, then you may want to consider scaling. So there are some pieces of information in there you may want to consider as to whether or not scaling is the best option for you. But yes, if you're modifying it, you want to try to get around that more likely time. Here's a very important thing to realize. The more likely time and the super fitness robot times, they're not 100% etched in stone. So let's say the more likely time is 9 minutes, and whether you scale it or whether you choose to do the prescribed workout, maybe the super fitness robot time is 7 minutes, the more likely time is 9 minutes. You choose to do a prescribed, or you scale it in some way that you think makes sense, and you come in at 10 minutes and 15 seconds. So you're quote-unquote slower than the more likely time by 1 minute and 15 seconds. It can be really easy for your human brain and emotions to just be like, well, I was beyond the more likely time. I was too slow. That's a failure. I did the workout wrong. It wasn't any good. None of those things are accurate. Those are just goals. And when you have a decent segment of people, a decent number of people going after them. There'll be a nice swath of the population that is right around that goal time, some a little high, some a little low, and that's a very normal distribution, a little normal bell curve. So you're perfectly fine. Now, if that happens every now and then. Now, if on a regular basis, it's 5 workouts a week, and for 4 of them, you're either doing it prescribed or you're scaling it, and you're consistently 2 or 3 minutes, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes slower than the more likely time, then, now we're seeing a pattern develop, and that may mean that we want to scale a bit more and just modify some of the metrics that you're using as to how you're modifying the work to get a bit closer to that more likely time. So again, there's a difference between if you slightly miss that mark every now and then or on a very regular basis. And whichever one of those two things it is, they both can be remedied, quite easily. So, but again, even if you're a couple minutes slower, you got in functional movements. You pushed yourself, I'm sure, with some degree of intensity. That day's a win. Fitness was achieved. So you're good to go, and you reap the physical benefits from the workout, and then you learn whatever you happen to learn from experimenting with it that day, and then you're a smarter athlete moving forward, and life's awesome. So we're good to go. Almost forgot there's multiple parts to that question. Does that time apply to the Leo and the no equipment option? Kind of, but not really. Any time the workout is different, that's the simplest way that I can say it. It's different. It's not the same workout. And so therefore, it's not going to take the exact same amount of time as the prescribed workout, which is why these things are just general metrics to use and shouldn't be seen as these just hardcore lines in the sand that if you're on one side you're right and on the other side you're wrong. They're general guidelines. And the limited equipment option is probably pretty darn close most of the time. We may have to modify the movements a little bit because there's dumbbells involved, not barbells. We may have to modify the repetition ranges a little bit because maybe there's a heavier loading being used for a smaller number of repetitions in the prescribed workout. And then to mimic that stimulus to the best that we can with the dumbbells, that might take a higher volume of repetitions. And so it is slightly different, but it's close. The no equipment workout is just a different workout, period. So no, you should not go by that times. The no equipment workout is just, I do know that some people follow it on a regular basis, but that is, you're away from your gym, your apartment, your garage, or whatever, and you find yourself trapped in the forest, but luckily you still have your phone and your app to check the workout, or you're on a beach vacation or whatnot, and you need to do something with actually no gear whatsoever, then the no equipment workout is just a standalone workout, mimicking to the best of our ability the prescribed stimulus of the day, but no doubt about it, a different workout. Okay. Oh, and final question. How did the steaks turn out? So David posted an amazing looking steak recipe in a cast iron skillet the other day, and I have not yet had the opportunity to try it, but I certainly will. As a matter of fact, I have it saved on my desktop, so I look forward to that. All right, next most popular question that was upvoted is from Jesse Hutchings. Jesse, where is your question? Let's see, here we go. Okay. Apologies if this has been covered, but I saw and participated in the name change question and saw the name change back to CrossFit Linchpin. Curious as to the overall feedback and your thoughts going forward. Things have seemed to improve, but know that you have a different view at the helm from Linchpin. Linchpin for life. Also, enjoy the homemade ice cream. It looks amazing. The ice cream was amazing. So, without, going back into all this stuff again, when was it? It's October now. Maybe it was back in June. The CrossFit global community was just shaken to its core and not in a good place. That's probably the easiest way that I can say that. And many individuals wanted change at the highest levels of leadership in the CrossFit organization, CrossFit corporate. And people made their voices heard in various ways. Some affiliates de-affiliated, some threatened to do so, some did name changes, the whole 9 yards. Some people at CrossFit resigned. So CrossFit Linchpin, which has been CrossFit Linchpin since 2014, during that time frame, to make our voice heard, we changed our name as part of our hey, we're going to let everybody know we're not happy with what's going on, and we do believe change is absolutely needed. And so we remained a CrossFit affiliate the entire time. We never de-affiliated. So we remained a CrossFit affiliate, but the name changed from CrossFit Linchpin to Linchpin Athletics. And those were tough times, really tough times, awful times, quite frankly, for the CrossFit community as a whole, a lot of affiliate owners and athletes. I mean, it was heartbreaking, miserable times. And that name change, I felt that it was required and necessary at the time to be vocal and show how we were truly feeling, but I didn't enjoy it. I mean, it was, I don't even know how else to say it, awful. Like tears in my eyes, awful, gut-wrenching time. And things, needed to change that people hoped would happen was new leadership, board of directors, things of that nature at CrossFit Corporate, and those things actually wound up happening, which was fantastic and incredible. And I do believe that good times are ahead for CrossFit as a community, as a global community moving forward. I think the best and the brightest years are still ahead, which is excellent. And some people might say, well, has there been enough time to know, if the changes are real or not real? And I get that. And I just don't, that's tough to quantify though, right? Like what's the one singular event that CrossFit Corporate will now do and you can point to and go, aha, it is so different. It's amazing. Like, I don't know what that one singular event might be. And then how long do you wait before you say, well, I guess everything's okay? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, a year? I mean, everybody probably has a bit of a different opinion. And so that's a bit of a slippery slope as well. But real changes have occurred at CrossFit Corporate from every metric that I can tell, and I think it's greatly appreciated. And I'm going to choose to believe in that, and I'm going to choose to be part of what I hope is a unified front of CrossFit affiliates moving forward and making that word, CrossFit, as incredible as we all know that it is. And so, just like we had to show that we weren't happy, I had to show that, we're all in this together. We never de-affiliated. CrossFit is a methodology I'm going to do to the day that I die. It flows through my veins. It's what I do. It's all I know. I love it. And it broke my heart to have to change the name to Linchpin Athletics to make that decision. And I always wanted to go back to CrossFit Linchpin because it's what we've always been. It's what we do. And even though I felt that way, I'm in a unique position as being the leader of the community. And so I also have to take what I think is the best decision on any given topic. And tough choices will never make everybody happy. But I wanted to get the pulse of the community. So I put out in the Facebook group, what were everyone's thoughts and feelings of, in lieu of the recent changes that appear to be positive and moving in the right direction, going back to CrossFit Linchpin. And it was overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly by a landslide. And then the second most popular response was probably we don't care what you call it. We're here. We love the community. It's fun. It works. We're here. So that was also very heartwarming. So with that, I was like, okay, that's really cool that everybody's thoughts and feelings aligned with what my thoughts and feelings were also. And then I just began the process of shifting everything back on the website and all that stuff, all that good behind-the-scenes logistics, to CrossFit Linchpin. And so, yeah, it feels really, really good just to have that name flying high again. And so, yeah, there we are. All right. So that was Jesse's question. Chris had a question. Where are you, Chris? Let's see. Okay. Why is our workout to rest ratio 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, rather than 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off? So 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off is the way that CrossFit.com programs. And it's a wonderful way to do it. And the caveat to that is just because that's the way CrossFit.com does it doesn't mean that's the only way. That is just a way. And it is a way that works well for some folks. And I was on a 3 on 1 off schedule for many, many years of my life. And it's nice, but it also has, in my opinion, some drawbacks with real life. And so what I chose was 3 on. So on Linchpin, we work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is a rest day. We work out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's a rest day. I personally prefer that schedule, the one that we use at Linchpin, for not only performance, it also gives you a little bit of extra rest, which that little bit of extra rest over the course of the year is part of the wonderful reason as to why we don't suffer this level of burnout that can be potentially happening in if people are just going far too frequently, far too hard, and then they crash and burn, and we don't want that to happen. So it gives us plenty of workouts, plenty of opportunities to express intensity, and with a beautiful amount of rest that allows those workout days to be maximized, yet keep everybody fresh and not feeling beat up. And then the other part of why I really like the 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off schedule is that it's set and it's consistent. The toughest thing I always thought about the 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off cycle that .com follows is your workout days and your rest days are constantly changing, constantly different. So, if you're trying to make plans 10 days from now, 2 weeks from now or something, when you're like, well, we're going to do this on a Friday, and you're like, is that a rest day? Is it a workout day? I'm not quite sure. Then it's different the next day. And while I did like things about it, I never liked that it wasn't consistent and made life planning a bit more difficult. So now people just know Thursday's a rest day, Sunday's a rest day. It just seems much easier to actually make that work and have it fit your life. And then when you know what it is and it has regularity and consistency, you can organize other things to help make fitness a priority and then miss fewer workouts. And you miss fewer workouts, fitness is happening more regularly and you're getting the rest that you need and things happen really nicely. The other schedule that people do every now and then that people do it if they have to, but I'm not a super big fan of, is some folks will do 5 days on, 2 days off. So they'll work out like Monday through Friday, like a regular work week, and take the weekend fully off. The beauty of that schedule is how nice is it to have the weekends totally off and just enjoy your weekend, to do whatever the heck you want without feeling like I got to get in a workout sometime. You can just enjoy yourself. That's great. And 2 rest days. Fantastic. Let the body recover. But the bad part about that is 5 workout days back to back to back to back to back is no joke. And usually after 2 rest days, if you rested Saturday and Sunday, probably going to feel great on Monday and Tuesday, and then even potentially Wednesday. And then on Thursday, this is 3 days after you worked out Monday, you're not getting a rest. You're probably not hitting Thursday with as much enthusiasm and intensity as you did on Monday and Tuesday, and your body hasn't gotten a rest, so you're probably starting to feel that as well, and that's slowing you down. But then, oh wait, you still have another workout day. You still have to work out on Friday, and Friday is probably a bit of a slog. And then, thank goodness, you get the rest days. Now, some people find themselves in that they have to do that because of just life, work, kids, schedules, and it's certainly better than nothing, and people make it work. And they may intentionally make Wednesday or Thursday kind of an easier day. So it is a day that they're moving. I don't want to call it a rest day, but it's an easier day, and hopefully allowing them to hit Thursday and Friday with a bit more of intensity. But that's not what I think is the ideal path for long-term health and fitness. So the one that we have chosen quite intentionally, and hopefully it's working quite well for everybody. All right, that was Chris's question. Colin Jacobson, where are you, sir? Here we go. All right. Colin's question: given that we are all seeking fitness for life, if part of our fitness journey means we want to or add in extra running or rucking or other activities, what advice or guidance do you have about timing and things to watch out for beyond the potential for reduced performance during a workout? Okay. Well, you hit one of the most important parts already, so we'll touch on that. So you want to add in other activities, other fun activities. First of all, yes. Go for it. Have a blast. I mean, it's what we're all here for, right? You know, you get stuff to do here on planet Earth, but ideally you get to enjoy yourself, to have fun, to use this body that you've been building up to go do some activities that actually make you smile. So you should wholeheartedly try to work those into your life. So the short answer is, I fully support that. Whether it's running, rucking, biking, kayaking, hiking, a sport, whatever it is, go do it. Now, it just depends. Now, here's the other part of it. You just have to listen to your body, because no two people are going to react precisely the exact same to adding in something extra, whatever that happens to be. And it largely depends upon the activity. Are you doing a low intensity sport that's not very taxing on your body, that you really don't even notice it? Are you doing something rather intense? Are you doing something which is a long time domain, a short time domain? Is it mainly upper body, lower body? Is it total body, etc., etc.? So there's the whole need versus want path that we could go down, right? And so you probably don't need to do anything extra, but you may want to, and that's fantastic, and you should. So now when you go down that path of, like, hey, I want to do a little something extra, and even if that something extra isn't biking or rucking or whatever, kayaking, but maybe you love Olympic lifting, like you love it. You understand that you want to be well-rounded, and the GPP is critically important for you to live a long, healthy life to the day that you die. So you're always going to do basically like what we do at Linchpin, strength and conditioning for the long term, but you want to do a little extra Olympic weightlifting. I don't have any problem with that at all. Throw it in. Have a blast. Maybe powerlifting, actually, you love that stuff. Throw it in. Strongman, whatever, throw it in. It's the need versus want. You don't need to do any of that extra stuff in order to get wonderfully fit, but you may want to. And we live in a wonderful world where you can do the things that you want, so you should. Now, whatever it is that you add in extra, that's when you just need to start paying attention. And again, you've got beautiful data on the Beyond the Whiteboard app of your times, your lifts, the whole 9 yards. And most people are going to be able to add a little something extra, and at a certain point, things may deteriorate. So we'll use cycling as an example. Let's say somebody absolutely adores long-distance road cycling. Great. And they meticulously track their data. Well, maybe they find out that they can add in, I'm just pulling out numbers here, by the way, they can add in 2 hours of cycling a week, and they don't even notice it. It's like it never happened. And you could do that for the rest of your life and be great. And they track their data, and they notice that if they do 4 hours a week, well, now they do start to notice it. Barbell feels extra heavy. You're not quite recovering as well. Like that cost is starting to happen in other areas. And so there's a kind of a cost-benefit analysis to everything that you do. And this would be the same with extra lifting, extra swimming, extra fill in the blank on whatever it is. There's going to be some little happy amount of that goes unnoticed, and then at a certain quantity or time domain or whatever, you will have to give something up in other areas. And then at that point in time, that's not right or wrong. And it's not for me to say whether it's right or wrong for you to do it. It's up to you. If you adore, to use our previous example, road biking, you just love it, then maybe you doing 4 to 5 hours of extra road cycling a week, if it takes 10% off your lifts and other workout, I'm just making that number up, it takes 10% off, maybe for you, that's perfectly happy because it puts a smile on your face like nothing else in the world. And you could spend less time on the road bike, more time in the gym, and, bump up your overall fitness level, which is great, but you're sad because you're not doing an activity that brings you so much joy in life. Well, that's not a great way to live either. So every single person is going to have to weigh this out in their own life, in their own pyramid of what's important to them. But as long as you have your data, you're tracking your data, you're listening to how your body feels, you're going to know when you get to that point of, I'm going to have to start giving something up in another area to keep giving more in this one particular area. And it's just, I wish you could have it all. I really do. But it's probably not going to be able to happen. Okay. Jen, our leader of the zombie apocalypse team, I believe Jen asked how the ice cream was last night. So I made some homemade ice cream because every Wednesday night is a cheat night here at the Sherwood household. And we actually didn't have a cheat meal. We had some baked cod, actually, for dinner, which was great. But then the ice cream that I made was a sweet cream base, like a vanilla base. And then in it, I mixed in M&Ms, some chocolate-covered pretzels, and then some all-natural peanut butter. It was fantastic. It was absolutely delicious. The only lesson learned I have, if anybody is out there making their own ice cream as well, is when I put the spoonfuls of peanut butter in there, I put the peanut butter in too thick. I should almost have drizzled it in a very thin manner, like made ribbons out of it, because the larger gobs of peanut butter, well, those gobs just froze. And then when you hit one of those in the ice cream, it was like digging through a rock. I mean, it was just this hard gob of peanut butter. So it would have been better if the peanut butter that I put in was thinner, then it would have been easier to break through with the spoon, and it would have been even better. So that is my lesson learned from ice cream. And now the last thing we'll do, I think, is the shout-outs. I remembered that I wanted the shout-out. So, all right, shout-out, actually from somebody who asked one of the questions, from Colin Jacobson. So I took a screenshot of one of Colin's posts where he said, did a mobility workout and then decided to go for a run. Ended up with a 5K PR. I love the fact that Colin just happened to go out for a run, just not programmed, just randomly, and just gets a PR. How cool is that? Just an accidental, oops, got a PR. Fantastic. Made me very happy. Okay. David Nicholson. I saved your steak recipe, so in case somebody is listening to this, you may have to pause it and write it down. But here's the steak recipe. Let's see. This is how I cook my steaks in a cast iron skillet. It gets it to rare or medium rare. You rub olive oil on all sides of the steak. You don't want to pour the olive oil straight into the skillet. Season it with whatever you like, but David likes sea salt, pepper, and garlic. Sounds amazing. Get the skillet hot on high heat, and right before you lay the steaks on, turn it down to medium-high heat. Seat each side of the steak 30 to 45 seconds. Lower the heat to medium and lay the steak down. Cook the steak for 45 to 60 seconds. Turn the heat off. Flip the steak to the other side for 30 to 45 seconds. Remove. Let it sit for a minute. And you're good. That's it. That fast. That's so much faster than I cook steaks. I have to try that recipe just because it seems like I could have an amazing steak in a few minutes. All right. Aaron Burden. Okay, what was this? Okay, this was the dumbbell thruster and shuttle sprint. I don't remember why I took this. Let's see. Aaron says, I had in mind to scale this and to do something extra. Okay. After, because I didn't think I would be fatigued. I just went faster with a lighter weight and burnt myself out. I loved that. So that was the other day we had the 15-12-9 dumbbell thruster and the 200-meter shuttle sprint workout, which, again, this relates to a lot of the stuff we said earlier about why do we do 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. Like it's this work-rest ratio that provides you ample time to train, yet ample time to recover so that you can hit workouts with intensity. So Aaron looked at that workout like a lot of people probably did and went, it's not going to be enough. I'm going to have to do something else extra after that. And then he just dropped the hammer and went fast with a lighter dumbbell than prescribed. So he made a smart decision, didn't let his ego get in the way, and because of that, was able to express intensity and was done. Didn't do anything after it. So I loved the fact that he got it, that he understood that the wonderful thing that you are in control of is depressing that gas pedal, the intensity factor. And if you bring the intensity, you don't need to do 2 or 3 workouts a day. Okay, here we go. Ricardo Escobar asked on the Facebook group, how does the hip and back extensions on the GHD help you in the long run? Are they just helpful for the warm-up? And we won't get into this. This could be a longer chat. But I was getting ready to dive in because I'm a big proponent of the hip and back extension for long-term health, midline stabilization, etc., etc. And there was absolutely no need for me to do it. I looked at the comments that our members left, and they were so intelligent and absolutely on point factually that I had nothing left to say. I think I just commented like, yes, agree with the above. And so again, I like bragging on Linchpin community. I'm sorry. It makes me very proud with how much our community just gets it and helps each other out. It's very, very cool. Okay. Saf OC. I enjoy your posts every day. You make me laugh. So she said, did tomorrow's workout because, let's face it, Sunday football and running the next day is a no-go. Suddenly, those fudge Oreos that she ate while drinking beer doesn't sound so good. Long story short, she posted a fantastic photo of her looking very unhappy after the workout and mentioned the fact that, enjoying some football, eating some fudge Oreos, drinking a bit of beer. I liked, of course, is that great for ideal human performance? No, but I loved the fact that, again, that's just real life. And that's what I want this community to be about is real life is not eating skinless chicken breast and broccoli and never making a mistake nutritionally or exercise-wise your entire life and just being this robot of perfection that's unobtainable, that burns people out. It's unrealistic. It's not sustainable. And so when people share their real life deals to include, nutritional decisions that potentially aren't, ideal, I love it because it's real. I love people that are real. So that's it. Okay, 2 more, I think. Adrian Salgado, sorry. Hi, everyone. I saw Mike Snyder's question on how to delete or edit a workout. I thought of answering it, but I think a visual guide is simpler and helps anyone having the same issue. Okay, now that refreshes my memory. This was amazing. From Boston. My accent just came back out. This was amazing. So, Mike Snyder posted a question that he wasn't sure how to do something on the Beyond the Whiteboard app, and it was delete or edit a workout. Members jumped in to help and answer how that could happen, but Adrian just took it upon himself to literally make a beautiful video walking through everything that you need to do on the app. I mean, you could put it on YouTube as a tutorial and just posted that for Mike just out of the kindness of his heart. How awesome is that? I mean, this is the stuff that I can't even make up. Okay, finally, this one again, real life. Rob Brown. Basically, he's in a new chapter of his CrossFit life with a newborn at home, 4-month-old little guy, has good nights and bad nights, so I don't compare my scores or efforts as much as I used to. And he does not for time workouts, probably 3 days a week, and he's just happy to get in some workouts. And basically is leaning on the community to help keep him motivated and engaged. And Rob, I love the fact that you shared that. Again, different chapters, different seasons of life, right? You can be just so concerned with your times and your lifts, and you're dialing in your sleep and nutrition, and you do this meal prep and everything's weighed, and all of a sudden there's a 4-month-old baby in your house and priorities shift incredibly, and then you're just trying to move your body a few times a week so that you can maintain as much fitness as possible until you get through that struggle session. And everybody can relate to that because it's real, it's genuine, it's authentic. And it just made me happy. So that's it. I think that's the last one. It is? Okay. Have a fantastic day. And enjoy the rest day. We'll talk later.